Every tear, every night I cried. Let me hear where I'm alive. No one ever stood for me before, but they're standing now, and here I soar.
Hello and welcome back to Behind the Bruises. I'm your host, Candy Morrow. Today's guest is Lauren. She's a survivor, entrepreneur, and a powerful example of what it means to rebuild a life with resilience and grace. After surviving childhood sexual abuse, psychological trauma, sexual assault, and domestic violence, Lauren rebuilt her life with the support of close friends, unshakable faith and therapy, and sheer determination. At times penniless, she began designing women's belts and jewelry, eventually seeing her creation sold in over 100 stores across the U.S., Canada, and Barbados. With her unwavering tenacity and encouragement from her now loving husband of 15 years, she taught herself social media and marketing, and today she runs a thriving creative business. Her journey reminds us healing is possible, even after profound pain. Lauren found her strong voice through adversity and has been using her voice to raise awareness about abuse and support for others. She's flown in all the way from Connecticut to be with us today. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
I know it was a long flight for you.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I would do anything to help you with this mission.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Okay, let's dive right into the questions.
Okay.
Okay. You've got quite a history, here.
You could say that.
You mentioned you were abused by both your parents.
Yes.
Your father was physically abusive, and then your mother was more psychological and emotionally abusive.
My father was more sexual abuse.
Was it sexual? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. What was it like in your home growing up? And what message did you internalize growing up in that craziness?
My home was filled with turmoil, I would say, and a sense of me personally. I have a brother and a sister, but me personally feeling like I had to take on the role of parent and take care of everyone.
Were you the older?
I'm the oldest.
Okay.
I'm the oldest.
Okay.
So I didn't share how I felt. I took care of everybody. I internalized it that loving meant taking care of other people and not taking care of me.
Okay.
So that's how I internalized it. Growing up, it was very tumultuous. It was a lot of secretiveness.
Okay, I was going to ask you, how was it so tumultuous?
Because the sexual abuse started at a young age, and
Like how old were you?
8, threatened. I'd go to a foster home. I would not be with my brother or sister, be on the streets. And at 8 years old, you tell yourself, you've got to shut your mouth. Mm-hmm. So I did.
Your father is the one that's telling you this.
Yes.
So he's,
Yes.
yeah, you believe him.
And I shared a room with my sister, and I knew it was happening to her as well. And me being the oldest, I would always try to save her, especially in the mornings before school, because it would happen every morning and every night. It was quite a challenge to live there.
Did your mother know that it was going on?
She says she didn't. I want to believe that, but at this age, I look at, you never tucked us in once. You always sent him in. I don't think there's ever been a night I didn't say goodnight to my daughter or my kids.
Yeah.
As a mom.
Yeah.
So whether she knew subconsciously or consciously, I don't know. But she should have been there to tuck her kids in.
But she had to have a sixth sense about this, that...
I think she did. I think it was also fear of finances.
Yeah.
She didn't have a college education.
Yeah.
So she would, basically, when she did find out about the abuse, basically gave my sister and I a choice of living on the streets or staying in the house. And we were only 12 at the time.
So let's back up. So she found out that he was abusing?
She found out because I got to the point where I have a lot of chutzpah. Mm-hmm. I'm born in the Bronx.
There you go.
And I'm a very resilient person.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. That's affecting my grades. Mm-hmm. I'm miserable. I knew he was doing it to some of my friends at sleepovers. He did it to my cousin. And I basically said, I'm going to tell. I don't care what happens to me. I'm going to tell Mom unless you tell her.
Wow.
So one day we came home from school, and my mother sat us down and said, I need to talk to you. Your dad admitted something, and then gave us a choice whether she should leave or stay. And to this day, I'm like, what kind of choice do you give
a child.
12-year-old
Yeah.
at that age? So,
Yeah.
yeah. And she was emotionally abusive anyway. She would pit the three of us, my brother, me, and my sister, against each other. She was emotionally very cruel to my sister.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a very controlling. She'd time our showers. If it was more than 3 minutes, we'd have to pay her money. It was just a crazy, crazy place to grow up.
No safety, no hugs, nothing like that. How horrible. How horrible. This is what I found very interesting when you told me about this. At age 18, you looked in the newspaper, found an ad for somebody to move in with, because you wanted to get the hell out of the house.
Yeah.
You know, from the mom and the dad.
This is before the internet. This is before any Craigslist. This was making...
What made you, I'm just curious, it's very interesting to me because the tenacity that you had and the courage that you had
Yeah.
to find a newspaper, to find somebody that you can move in with that you have no idea who it is.
Well, I went to meet her.
Yeah.
But just a call.
You're still a stranger.
Yes. I've always been very tenacious, very resilient. I didn't think I was as brave as I gave myself credit for. I realized that later in life.
Right, yeah.
But, it was almost, that's why when I saw the title of your book, Not One More Day, in my 18-year-old brain, I said, I can't take this. I can't take this anymore. I can't take this one more day. 18 years old, it's like the day after my 18th birthday, I said, I am out. I don't care. I got a job at an accounting firm, and I left. I said, surprise, I'm leaving. And they couldn't do anything because I was 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did leaving represent for you in your mind?
Freedom.
Yeah.
Peace. Freedom from abuse, freedom from control, peace, and being able to make my own way and not have anyone basically watching my every move or feeling like I was unsafe all the time. So I was willing to take the risk of literally eating a head of lettuce every day and living with some woman who happened to be, I think, in her 70s. And I was only 18. I was like, she felt like a grandmother to me. I felt very safe there.
Yeah.
So, it was a brave thing to do at the time. It was necessary for my mental health.
That took a lot of courage for you to do that, girl.
I didn't think so back then, but I look back now and I'm like, wow, 18 is young.
Yeah.
When you're 18...
To look in a newspaper, though, and find somebody to move in with.
Yes. But back then, I didn't look at it like that. I looked at it as like, this is, to me, a mental health, life and death, not life and death, but I mean, emotionally, it was the life and death situation. And I was willing to say, I'm going to take whatever the consequences are, but I know I'm strong enough to make my own way.
Yeah.
Looking back, I'm like, wow, I didn't realize how young 18 is.
Yeah.
Now I look back and I go, 18, what do you know at 18?
Yeah.
I look back and I'm just shocked that I had the guts to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that you did. Did you feel you were vulnerable at that time, or you just like, I'm going for this and whatever happens, happens?
I felt vulnerable in the fact that the physical part of the sexual abuse stopped, but it was constant verbal. Even up till I was 18, to the day I moved out. It was just things that were said to me by my father that were absolutely disgusting. And I was emotionally abusive at that point, more than sexual, physical touching. It was more in my head that he's jealous of my boyfriend. Like, this is weird.
Yeah.
So, I felt vulnerable. So it was a necessity for me at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be able to then, at 18, get a job, fit into society, start making your own money, that sort of thing. Well, how did that vulnerability shape you?
Oh, it made me a very, very strong and self-reliant person.
Okay.
Even to this day, I have a hard time asking for help from anyone because it really made me rely on me 100%. There was no going and asking mommy, can I have $20 for rent, or I have no
was you.
food to eat. It was me. So that vulnerability made me very, very, very strong person and self-reliant. To this day, it's sometimes a fault. My husband says, you just have to ask for help.
Yeah.
I like to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
So in that way, it served me well. And I have always tried to make lemonade out of lemons.
Well, and I think you were trained as a child, and please excuse the word trained, but, not really to ask for anything.
Conditioned. I was conditioned.
Exactly.
No.
So therefore, to now as an adult, to say, I need help doing this, this, and this, it makes it a little difficult.
Very, very difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
to the point where we had to ask to open the fridge and eat food. We
Yeah.
had to ask for, have a glass of milk. So I didn't feel worthy of anything. I wasn't worth leaving my father. My sense of self-worth, I knew it was eroding dramatically, and I had to get out. So I got out.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. You married hubby number one at the young age of 21.
Yes, I did.
You mentioned he was somewhat controlling
Yes.
and emotionally avoidant.
Yes.
How did that kind of abuse affect you differently than what you had experienced growing up?
It's funny because he was a lot like my mother in the way of being controlling, and she was emotionally avoidant. So she wouldn't really like hug you. There was no really affection. So I married someone very safe because I knew he wasn't going to be like my father.
Okay.
And I knew I could trust him to have children with. And I loved him. I mean, we got along great. But over time, after 3 children, 16 years, workaholism, emotional avoidance got in the way, and I was unhappy. So that was the name of that tune.
So you filed for divorce?
I filed for divorce. Yeah, I was only 37.
Well, the thing is, you're 21 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
With 3 young children.
Right.
And
he was at work all the time, and
yeah.
Plus, one of my kids has some emotional issues that was very hard for me to deal with on my own. Feeling like a single parent.
Yeah.
So I filed for divorce. So, but it wasn't an abusive relationship in the respect that I felt unsafe. It just
more
felt
verbal.
More financial control.
Okay.
Definitely financial control, and just feeling unwanted, emotionally avoidant. Like not loving, affectionate environment. But if in a way, if that sounds weird, it felt safe because my father was so. Yeah. So we choose people for a reason.
Yeah, we do. That we do. How did this relationship impact your sense of worth, your voice, or your autonomy over time?
My sense of worth, I didn't feel like I was pretty. I didn't feel like I was worthy of any affection, or I would beg him, please be home one night for dinner with the kids. But work came first, I felt. So I felt very emotionally neglected. So it really eroded my sense of self-worth. And I was 37 years old, and I was like, I'm already a single parent in many respects because he's never here. And I'm getting nothing out of this for me emotionally. And a relationship shouldn't be like that.
Yeah. What drew you to him initially?
Safety.
Yeah.
He was very, very safe. I knew he would never hit me. I knew he would never abuse my children. I knew he was not into porn or any weird stuff. So he was a very moral person. His morality and what he stood for, and his morals and his integrity is what really drew me in. And a very hard worker, which in the end was not great because he was a workaholic. But
exactly.
That's what drew me in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You met and married hubby number 2. What did he initially offer you that felt appealing and safe to you?
Oh boy, this was a love bomber relationship. This was, let me write you poems. Let me buy you pretty shoes. Let me take you to dinner. Let me just, do all the things that hubby number one didn't
That's
do.
what I was just going to say. What you were missing
Right.
during having, he came along and just
Correct.
like he knew.
He knew I was hungry. Went from a desert to an oasis, and not realizing that there was a flip side to that human being and that personality, because I got sucked in very easily. Compliments and just the whole 9 yards. So that's what drew me in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do that.
Very romantic. Tons of roses.
You also mentioned he had untreated bipolar disease.
Yes.
How did the alcohol, the jealousy, and the control play with that and the bipolar?
That's an interesting question, because he was diagnosed bipolar, but
Before you married or?
yes,
Okay.
but he would go on and off his medication. So sometimes he would take it, sometimes he wouldn't. I would never know. So that definitely, I think, played a big part in the fact that, he was abusive.
Yeah.
The alcohol was what lit the fire.
Okay.
That's basically when I knew things were going to escalate. Most of the time, my kids were not around. It was on the weekend when they were with their dad. And I could tell just by a look on his face that he was getting ready to escalate. The look in his eye, they'd go black. And it would start with something simple like we're out to dinner, and if a guy would look my way, he would think I was flirting when I hadn't even seen the person look at me. I'd get back to the room, and I'd be called horrible, disgusting names, slurs. It started with the verbal and escalated from there.
Was there a time when you told him that you were leaving? And did his behavior change in ways that pulled you back in?
Oh, yeah. The first time he verbally abused me, I said this isn't acceptable, and I left where we were staying and went back home. And he drew me in with cards, flowers, gifts. I don't know who I was. That'll never happen again. I love you. You mean the world to me. All the right things he was
Can't
saying.
live without you.
Can't live without you was a big one. It was the drinking. I had too much to drink.
Yeah.
That was a big one too. So I got sucked back in.
Did he ever blame you for his drinking?
No, he never really. Well, I should take that back. Basically, if I ordered a glass of wine, it was his calling card to say, I can order what I want.
Okay.
And even though he knew at this point he had a problem and was abusive when he drank. So I would watch myself, but there were times when he was in AA, and I would say, can I have a drink? And he'd be like, okay, you can have a drink. And he would be great. And then 2 months would go by, and I'd do the same thing at dinner and order a glass of wine. And he would order one, and I'm like thinking to myself, oh boy, I'm in trouble tonight.
Yeah.
And the fear in me would just, it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anticipating as to what you knew was going to come.
What I knew was going to come. There were situations that happened with him that I just remember one night feeling like I was going to die. He was going like 100 miles an hour in a snowstorm.
Driving?
Driving. Calling
Just you and him in the car?
Yes, calling me every name in the book.
And was he drinking?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
He was drinking, and we were all the way up in Washington, Connecticut, and we went down to Fairfield County, Connecticut. So it was a 45-minute drive in a blizzard, and telling me, you're going to die, BITCH. And I was crying, and I said, I have 3 kids. Please, you need to slow down the car. And, he proceeded to get us home, barely. And that's really the night that I decided I had had enough, when he came in and started kicking me and hitting me more than he had before.
And then the love bombing starts all over
Oh,
again.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a constant cycle.
How did that relationship, did those moments affect your ability to be able to trust?
Oh, boy. Men, I could not trust. I've never had a problem trusting women. I don't know why. I've always had great relationship with girlfriends, friends. I mean, I've never had a problem, but with men, after my father, disappointment from my first not working out and wanting the happily ever after family, and then this abuse, it really affected my level of trust. And it didn't matter if you were a male relationship as far as a boss or a potential boyfriend or a guy behind the counter serving me McDonald's. If you were a man, I did not trust you.
Okay. You had the wall up.
Oh, I had the wall up big time. Yeah.
You mentioned you called the police to report his physical abuse. What happened when the police would come?
Well, let me first of all say that I would call before I was going to be abused because he was threatening me. Now, this was back in 1999, and they would say, "Has he hit you?" And I said, "No, but he's telling me he's going to hurt me." And back then, they said, "We can't do anything until he lays a hand on you." The times they did come, which was one in particular in the Hamptons, they came in, they made me and my kids leave because he had been drinking.
Let me understand this. He's been drinking. You are there with your children, and you have to leave.
Yes, he was the one drinking, so they wouldn't let him drive. And I hadn't been drinking, so...
And with 3 children.
I had 3 children. He had his 2 there. We were married at this point. I married the idiot. I married the idiot after sending back 4 engagement rings. Yes, I did.
Yeah, because you said that the abuse started before the engagement or during the engagement. What was that?
It started verbally before the engagement and then physically after the engagement.
Okay.
Then I sent back a ring. Then he decided to proceed to have phone sex with my sister. And I found out about that and I sent back another ring. And then I caught him watching porn and talking to women sexually online and sent back another ring. And then he hit me again, sent back another ring. This was over and over. This was over a course of a couple of years.
What made you stay?
Well, are you asking me why I stayed before I got married or after?
Either.
Before, I was in that cycle they call the cycle of abuse.
Okay.
I was in the, "I'm sorry, honey, I'll never do it again. I love you. Here's some gifts."
And you wanted to believe.
And I didn't want the gifts. I just wanted to believe so much in humanity
Yeah.
and that he was going to change.
Right.
And he kept promising. And I'm one of those people that I forgive and I forgive and I forgive. And I did. After we got married, the reason I stayed was not because of that. It was financial. Because I had given up my alimony.
Okay.
And I had put my house in his name with me. So now he was on my mortgage. And I had no alimony. So what am I going to do? Leave? And how am I going to pay for my house? So I stayed longer than I should have because of that.
Yeah.
In the end, I did end up losing my house.
But you saved your life.
I did. I saved my life. I did. But
Sometimes it's okay to give up those material things. You know,
yes.
it's all right to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
To
Yeah.
be safe.
Yeah.
Was there a turning point that made you realize that you had to leave? That's like, this is it, I'm done.
Yes.
You know, and what helped you trust that inner voice that finally said, "Lauren, it's time to get out"?
Oh, this is a little emotional for me. That turning point was when my ex found out that I was being abused on the weekends. And he took my kids from me when I was on a business trip.
This is the abuser? Or who is this?
No,
then?
my first husband I had my children with.
Hubby number 1. Okay,
Yes.
hubby's the children's father.
Yeah. He took my kids out of the school they were in
Why did he take the children?
because he was afraid for their welfare because I was staying
so
with a
he
guy.
knew about the abuse.
He knew that it had happened a couple times. Yeah. So he took the kids And that was my moment where I said, don't be your mother. Do what's right for your kids.
Yeah.
So that was the moment that I said, I'm going to be the kind of mother that I should have had, and do what's best for my kids. And that was the moment. Thank you. That's the moment I decided, come hell or high water, I didn't care what the finances were or if I lost, and I did lose the house. And I did have no money, and I had to clean toilets and work for friends. And I did that because my love for my kids was so strong.
Yeah.
And what I was doing to them, by them having that disconnection with their mother, was so raw for me, because I needed that from my own mother. So this was like, that was my moment. It was my kids and dear friends who really pushed me to say, you can do this, because I was unsure. I knew I wanted to, but I was afraid.
Yeah.
And friends that lent me money, friends that hired me to do odd jobs. Without that and my faith in God, I would not be sitting here. And my kids would probably hate me. But, I did it for my kids. That was the catalyst. When you hurt my kids, when it affected my kids is when it got to me. And I look back now and I think, why didn't I feel like I was worthwhile enough to leave for myself?
Very interesting point.
But I had so much love for my children that I left for them. But I didn't have enough love to leave for just me. And now I'm a different person.
Yeah. Yeah.
My kids are grown and gone. Any man ever touched me, out the door.
Yeah.
Out the door, because you can leave. And you do have friends out there, but you can't be silent about it. And I was so embarrassed. I didn't tell any of my good friends. They knew I was quiet. They knew I was not. He also kept me away from my friends. So my friends would ask me to go out, and I didn't. And eventually, they found out what was going on, and they said, this isn't right. You can do this. We'll help you. We'll do whatever we can. Some of my friends had money to help. I was paid them back in the end.
Yeah.
But I thank God for them. And I hope that anyone listening to this podcast realizes that there are people in their lives that love them. And you just need to reach out. You just need to reach out. Don't wait for your kids to be affected.
Yeah.
Don't wait till it's too late. And something worse even happens. Thank God my abuser never touched my children and hit them or, physically hurt them like you hear about.
Yeah.
So.
But I think also too, the environment that you were raised in, you had no self-worth. No. You had no self-esteem. No. And then now you're in this relationship where you want so desperately for this man to be the man that he was when you first started dating.
Yes. Yes.
The flowers, the adornments, all the stuff, there. And so therefore it's like you want that so desperately.
Yep. I had Cinderella syndrome.
Yeah, well, that kind of.
I was like, oh, my knight in shining armor.
Exactly.
And then I realized I was turning into a pumpkin. That was not the fairy tale that I signed up for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, too, as well, but almost like you were looking for him to give you that self-worth.
Oh, absolutely.
To make you better. To make you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it was constant compliments, and I felt ugly. I never felt pretty. I always felt unworthy. And he knew exactly what to spoon feed me to keep me there. Oh, you're the most beautiful woman. Oh, you're so gorgeous. Oh, you're so this, you're so that, talented. And so he fed into all that insecurity and not trusting in myself as a person.
So that's why I think, when you felt so guilty during that time, and all, you have to kind of take in consideration you were dealing with what the tools you had to work with, there.
Yes. I was
there. So you have to commend yourself. At least you got out and you're alive and your children are doing well. So, but I understand where that shame comes from, there. Because you've already been told you're worthless,
right.
Before, and then this person is,
And then I think there's the fear of telling your friends that, because they'll be like, why are you staying? Why don't you just leave? What's wrong with you? You know, there's the door. Why don't you just take it?
I wish they would abolish that.
You can't say that to people.
No.
You can't say that because there is so much that goes into
The complexity of this
It's
disease.
so complex, and each situation is different. If me now, first of all, I wouldn't have stayed in that situation, but I would have had my kids' birth certificates together. I would have had my passport. I would have had all my documents safely stored.
Yeah.
I would have made a get out plan. I would have called a friend. I would have gone to a shelter. I would have done whatever I could. But that was 20 years ago.
Right.
25,
And it didn't have those
30 years
resources
ago.
available for
No,
them.
now women have, and there's men that are abused too, but women have many more resources for
Yes.
them and their children to get the help they need and feel safe and supported, and you just have to reach out.
Yeah, in one of the other episodes, we have an attorney talking about, restraining orders and, what documents you're going to need, if you're planning your escape and that sort of thing.
And that's very important, as well as having some kind of financial secret savings account. I don't know. Give it to your friend to save in her own name. Someone you trust. Don't put it in your name because God forbid he found out about it.
He'll find it.
Yeah. But have some kind of your own money. Stock somewhere with someone you trust.
I used to stuff in a shoe in the closet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Mine was so controlling. My abuser, he picked out my shoes when we went out for dinner. So he'd find my money in my shoes. Forget that one.
Was there anybody in your life that you had, that stood by you, that you could call and say, can you help me out? I need to do this.
I had a very dear friend who has the guts of, which I wish I had, said, I'm coming over. We're getting him to pack his stuff and put it in his suitcase and leave. And whatever my husband and I can do to help you financially, we will do.
Wow.
She came over and she said, pack your stuff. And she was not someone you mess with. She was like she still is a very strong woman, Kelly. And Kelly stood by the front door and he wasn't going fast enough for her packing. So she said, she started helping him put his stuff in the suitcase and said, all right, you need to speed it up. And then as soon as he left, she said, bye-bye now. And if it were not for her, I don't think I could have sat there and waited for him to pack. I think the fear in me was so great, like he's going to turn on me. But because she was there, I knew.
Were you not afraid that he'd turn on her?
No. She is someone who she's not like, that kind of person. You know instantly when you meet Kelly that you don't mess with her. She's the sweetest person, but she has that something about her that is just like, go ahead, try it. Just try it. And I admired her so much for that. Like, you came over here and the funny thing is, this is the best part of the story. When I told him I wanted him out, he didn't want to leave. And so he thought we were best friends. We were friends, but we weren't best friends at that point. I was better friends with the woman that she was friends with, Janet. So he called her and said, can you believe she wants to leave me? And so she came over and she asked me what was going on. And
Mrs. Kelly?
Yes.
Okay.
Kelly came over and she said, he called me and said, you want him to leave. I thought everything was fine. I said, no, Kelly, I've not told anyone, but this is what's been going on. It's been abuse after abuse after abuse, sexual abuse, all kinds of abuse from him. And I just haven't had the guts to tell anyone. And so he came to the door, the bedroom door, and he said, so did you talk her out of making me leave? And she says, oh no, the exact opposite. Pack your bags. I'm sitting here. I'm waiting. Get your stuff and move out. And he did, because he was afraid of her. He had met his match. He was like, I'm not going to mess with this woman. So my heart and my soul is so grateful to her and her husband for their help in having me get out of that situation that I was ready to get out of, but it gave me that extra bit of, you can do this. I'm here for you. You have help.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
How sweet.
Yeah.
How sweet. If someone is listening and is in an abusive situation and feels stuck, what would you want them to hear from you?
I want them to hear from me that there are resources out there. You have people who love you. Even if it's one person in this whole world, you have someone out there who cares about your welfare. And if you don't, there are domestic violence shelters. There are resources all over the place for women to go to. And you are important. And I love your catchphrase, or not catchphrase, but your motto, you matter. And that's so important, that you need to realize you do matter, and you can get out, and you can start life over. And it can be a peaceful, wonderful life without living in fear. But you need to take the first step. Yeah. You need to do it for yourself, especially if you have children, but love yourself enough to leave for you too. Because there's a lot of women who are not even married. They're in situations where it's a girlfriend-boyfriend situation. They're in college, and there's a guy who's on the football team, and he's beating up his cheerleader girlfriend. I don't want to say anything like football players do that in general, but I'm just saying, you would never expect some good-looking football player to be doing that, but it happens in high school. You need to tell a friend, and you need to get out, because once you get in that cycle, the next person you're going to pick someone just like that when you go to marry someone. You're going to get divorced, and you're going to pick someone else, unless you learn that this is a cycle. But I want people to know that you can be Candace, you can be me, you can get out, and you can start over, and you don't need to be afraid.
Yeah. After everything you've lived through, I imagine you have a heightened awareness when it comes to people's behavior. When you meet someone new, what behaviors immediately rise to red flags for you?
Pretty amazing that every single person I know that knows me well says, I need you to meet this person. Tell me what you think of them. Because within 2 seconds, I can tell if you're a good person or a bad person. It's a gift that I've been given over time to pick up on bad energy. And I immediately can pick up if you're controlling, if you're mean, if you're nasty, if you're cold, if you're distant.
Even if they're standing there smiling.
Oh, yes. I read right through the BS. So that's like something for me where when I meet someone within the first 3 seconds of meeting you, I instantly know whether I like you or not. And if you don't make eye contact with me, that's a huge red flag. If someone's going like this, darting all over the place, they're not being honest with you. They're not sharing their heart and soul with you.
Exactly.
So that's a big red flag for me as well.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, and I think that women that have survived, domestic violence, they have that radar to where they can usually spot somebody and read them and have that intuition that this doesn't feel right.
I see
after
it.
They've gone through.
I see it in a supermarket. I see it out in the world. I see it in a restaurant where the husband or the boyfriend is. I can tell she's in a relationship that she shouldn't be in. I instantly can tell because the control is there. Yeah. The look is there. You know because you've been in that situation.
Never forget
you know it. So, yes, it's something you unfortunately learn from being in that horrible situation. You pick up on it immediately, and you know he's a control freak. Run.
But that's interesting because you watch people in the restaurants. I do the same thing.
Do you?
I do. I'm like, are they talking to each other? What are they talking?
I watch the body language.
Yeah.
If I see this or a look or whatever, I'm like, well, we got to run from him. Or you can kind of see the woman cower a little. I pick up on body language as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then you see a cute little couple sitting there together talking and having
and they're holding hands.
Yes.
And that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the dream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. You've been happily married now, and congratulations, for 15 years.
Yes.
What role did the therapy play in healing? And what helped you feel safe with him?
He was just a big teddy bear. I instantly knew the kindness oozed out of him. My kids instantly liked him. There was no ick factor.
But you said he had a checklist he had to go through.
Oh, my daughter did.
Yeah.
My daughter went to the restaurant. She was 10 with a clipboard and said, I need to interview you. Do you hurt women? Are you abusive? Are you on the post office wall? Are you wanted by the FBI? I mean, it was the cutest thing. And he was such a gentleman. He goes, would never do that. Not on the FBI wall. And I said, I'm really sorry. I said, but we've been through a lot. And he goes, no problem. I want her to ask me anything she wants. And boy, did she. And she was like, no, he has to be approved by me, Mom. So
And how old was she at the time?
she was 10 or 11.
Oh my gosh, how funny.
Yeah, and to this day, I feel bad that she was in that mother in me today
But
says.
she learned from that.
I was like, that's sad that she had to even be in that situation to take a clipboard. She should have never had to be in that situation.
She got a little tenacity from
Oh,
you.
she's got chutzpah like a mama. She does. She's learned from my mistakes. And one of the greatest compliments is she says to me, Mom, you're the strongest woman I know.
Wow.
And I'm really proud of you for where you went from losing everything to where you are today. And I think that's having your kid proud of you after they see you in that situation is just probably one of the most, even though I went through hell, if I can have this outcome, that's great.
Yeah. We're about to wrap things up, and I just wanted to ask you, is there anything that you would tell a woman out there? I mean, I know we touched on this before, but is there anything to add to that list as to what you wish for her?
I would say
anything you want to say?
Yes. If you grow up in a home where you're being verbally put down, verbally abused, physically abused, sexually abused, emotionally abused, any kind of abuse whatsoever, once you get out of that house, you need to get therapy. Because you need to talk to someone who can set your mind in a different mindset so you don't make the same mistakes and you don't get pulled into bad relationships. I wish I had the knowledge at 18 to do that and learn that you were not treated the right way growing up. Your self-esteem is terrible. We need to make some changes in how you view yourself. Any woman out there, if you've gone through any kind of abuse as a child, before you get in a relationship, before you walk down the aisle especially, get some counseling, get some therapy. And even if you don't have the money, there's free places that will do counseling.
Yeah.
I know of a couple people that if you don't have the money, they'll even do it for almost nothing.
Wow.
Because they want to help women. So that is a big piece. I think you need to get your brain straight after coming out of a child abuse situation, because then you do make bad choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you do. Thank you so much, Lauren, for being here today.
You're welcome, Candy.
Thank you for traveling in from Connecticut, getting up at 4:30 this morning to catch your flight.
That's okay.
I so appreciate you coming.
This is a mission, and I support you 100%.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you. I
welcome.
appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Thank you again, Lauren, for your courage, your heart, and for sharing your story. I know it takes incredible courage to speak your truth. Your voice matters, you matter, and your story has the power to help someone listening feel less alone. Please come back. You're welcome anytime. And to all of you, thank you so much for joining me today on Behind the Bruises. If this episode resonated with you, or if you feel someone needs to hear it, please take a moment to subscribe, like, or comment. Your support helps more survivors know they're not alone. And always remember, you matter.
Now I'm around. Oh, no more taking away her power. Not one more day, her new theme. She's living wide awake in a dream.